Thanks everyone for joining us today with Coach Sean Covich. The Mountaineers will begin their 10th season of competition since the program was reinstated this weekend in Minnesota. We'll turn it over to Coach and then we'll take some questions. Coach?
Yes, appreciate it, Brian. Yeah, 10th season of Mountaineer Golf. Pretty excited to get it started, but it's been a wild ride since we first got started. I think 2015, 16 season was our first year, and just you kind of put your head down, go to work, and then you look back, you're like, wow, it's really been. We're starting 10th year, so pretty crazy. And last year was very exciting, at least at the end. Getting to play well at our home tournament, kind of keeping the momentum going at Big 12s and then regionals and on to nationals. So it was a very exciting year, and hopefully can build off of that for this season. I did want to mention a couple, I guess, staff upgrades for us. Coach Kors, who was our assistant last year, assistant coach, who we gave him a new additional title this year, director of player development, as well as our assistant coach. I think Coach Kors has done a phenomenal job helping develop our guys and bring the right, mindset to our program. So excited to keep working with him and learn from him and keep getting better. And then our strength and conditioning coach is new to us this year, Chandler Geller. And I think from the first workout, really set the a new mindset, a new tone, new work ethic, new accountability in the weight room. So really excited to keep working with Chandler. And then we just got done with our qualifying to start the fall. We kind of called it fall camp this year. We did a lot of qualifying, obviously early morning workouts and things of that nature. And to be honest, qualifying did not go great. I don't think we played our best. It was kind of as we say, like a pillow fight to see who wanted to go. You'd rather see a lot better play, a lot, under par rounds or even par rounds, but kind of struggled, which is not great leading into the first tournament, but hopefully the guys respond and, play well. I will say the bright thing is our freshmen have played well. We have two in the lineup and one almost made it in the lineup. So excited about them. And yeah, just ready to go to Minnesota, one of my favorite tournaments. Good field. I think Baylor and Georgia Southern, New Mexico, Iowa, who had a bunch of guys in the USAM competing, will be there. So it's going to be a test right off the bat. So looking forward to going up there.
Okay, thanks, Coach. We'll open up to questions. Please use the raised hand feature. We'll start with Kevin Kinder.
Coach, you mentioned getting started again, and after that building process and all the great success you had at the end of last year, is it difficult to readjust the mindset and go back to the initial, stages of building a new team? I know you've got some carryovers, but how much of that does carry over, and is it tough to go back to, oh, we got to go back to the start of the season again?
Yeah, it's that was one thing we talked about in our first team meeting was really everything that we accomplished last year like doesn't have anything to do with this year's rankings or results or give us any bonus points. Like that was great. We enjoyed it, but like we have to start building our resume right now, the first tournament and it all starts over. And just because you played good last year doesn't mean you play good again this year. And then I started crunching the numbers as far as I think the easy thing to do is look at our lineup at NCAAs, Big 12s, NCAAs last year and go, oh, well, you got four out of five starters back, so you should be just as good. But honestly, if you look at the numbers truthfully, the production for most of the year was done by people outside of the lineup when it came to postseason play, meaning like um, Will Stakel, Trent Tipton, Ollie Menard, Jackson Davenport. Those are four seniors that carried the load for us most of the year last year. I think they counted for 44% of our rounds counted. And when they graduated, that was a big gap that needs to be filled in. yes, we had some guys step up late, but they were hit or miss most of the year. And luckily they played good when it mattered the most at the end. But we're hoping for more consistency, I guess, is what we're looking for, rather than relying on, whoever's in the lineup. Hopefully they catch lightning in a bottle, so to speak. But yeah, so I think hopefully they understand. Yes, we had success, but none of that matters this year, and we lost a lot of production, so we need somebody to step up and fill those roles that our seniors helped last year.
Let's go to Joe Mercado.
Sean, so who are your five for this weekend? Do you take individuals to this tournament as well, or guys competing as individuals?
We're going to take one individual. He's actually technically it's across the street, so it's a totally separate tournament. But as far as the individual, that's going to be true freshman Nick Tarowski, who was very, very, very close to qualifying. Very close. But as far as the lineup, Max Green, who will he's actually coming off a injury to his hand, but he's fine now. But he had to kind of sit out most of the qualifier, but got in the last 3 rounds. So he was a coach's pick. Played really well the rounds he did get to play. Obviously, our best player from last year, he'll be playing. Todd Duncan, a senior who had a good highlight this summer, winning the West Virginia Open, will be in the lineup. Caleb Wilson, who started for us in the postseason last year, a junior. Caleb won qualifying, so he will be going. And then we have two young guys making their first start. Ryan Leach, who is a true freshman out of Virginia, will be in the starting lineup. And then Hugh Donegan, who's a redshirt freshman. He's with us last year. Just we decided to redshirt him, and now he's getting a start. He played well, really consistent in qualifying. So that's our lineup. So you've got, Max, Todd, Caleb, Ryan, and Hugh will be the starting five, and then Nick Tarowski, very talented true freshman as well. So technically, out of the six that are traveling, three are freshmen, two true freshmen, and one redshirt freshman. So hey, maybe they're the guys that are going to step up.
Let's go to Michael Griffith.
Hey, thanks. Hey, Coach. Obviously, you said everybody knows each season is individual, each season is new, no matter what happened last year. But what is one thing that you think you learned individually or your team learned altogether that you really wanted to maybe bring back this year, kind of bring to a message to your freshmen or anything like that?
Well, I think really it was just getting back to our core values and understanding like you can't overcomplicate it and there's no shortcuts to success. It's really just kind of boring work and sticking with your core values. And I think we got away from those maybe last fall and early spring. And then you know, probably March and April just drew a line in the sand and like we're just going to get back to, the very basics of what we need to be doing and holding the guys accountable. And then we played good golf, towards the end of the year. So I think that was a lesson we learned is like never get too far off from doing what you said you would do or do what your program wants to be about. And so trying to get back to those core values and keep it very simple and basic and at times boring, but that's what we need to do. And I think if we do that, learn that lesson, hopefully we don't get too far off track this season.
Let's go back to Joe.
Sean, the tournament that you've got at Nemacolin, are you guys hosting that solo? Is that a co-hosting opportunity? And how long have you kind of wanted to get a second tournament that's at one of your host courses on the schedule for a while now?
Yes, we're excited about that. Nemacolin's been, great to us, letting us practice and play up there. And they've had some college events, maybe Division II events, and so they reached out about wanting to do a Division I event and just see if we could, help out, facilitate that. We're more than happy to do that. And Penn State, which is, from Pennsylvania, obviously they're going to be playing in the field and a lot of Northeast teams. So we're excited to get it off the ground and kind of see what that event can turn into. And then obviously, ending the regular season at home at Pete Dye Golf Club, marquee event as well. So yeah, technically kind of having two, home-ish events, one in the fall and then one in the spring. is awesome. And we're so thankful to, Nemacolin, to Pete Dye, to the Pines as well, letting us practice and play out there. So we've got a good lineup of golf courses, and to be able to feature, some of those in tournaments is very exciting.
Kevin.
Following up on the scheduling, it looks like this schedule might be a little bit tougher, one of the tougher ones that you've had. Is that the case? And if so, did the success that you had last year maybe help spark either invitations or getting into a couple more difficult tournament fields this year?
Yeah, probably so. We've always tried to have a pretty competitive schedule, and anytime you playing the Big 12, I mean, with Big 12 match play and Big 12 championship, like you can't shy away from, some of the best teams in the country. So, um, but yeah, most of the scheduling's done years in advance. I mean, nothing like football, obviously. I can't tell you our schedule for 2030 right now, but, we are working on next year's schedule already. We haven't even played this year yet. So a lot of that was in place. And we do have kind of our favorite tournaments that, as long as they'll invite us back, like I'm going to go to those events, and that fills up, 70 to 80% of our schedule. But we did add, some new ones. Some that come to mind, obviously creating the Nemacolin Collegiate would be a new one. Going to Briars Creek, hosted by College of Charleston. Going back to Las Vegas in February, and then the Johnny O hosted down at Sea Island Resort, and then the Bahamas as well. So a very good schedule, very exciting schedule. It's going to be tough, but it's that's what we're trying to prepare for. I mean, Big 12s weren't easy last year. Regionals were not easy, and nationals were not easy. So you gotta get ready to play really good competition on really difficult golf courses.
And then on a completely different tangent, NCAA in increasing allowable scholarships across all sports potentially for next year. I think men's golf goes from 4.5 to 9. Have you thought about that at all? Funding for that? Obviously, that's a battle. How you address all that, or are you trying to put that off until after this season?
Yeah, probably. I mean, obviously you're thinking about it, but I'm really thinking about what I need to pack for Minnesota, and how we're going to do qualifying for Nemacolin, and try to take it one day at a time. And nobody really knows what's going to shake out with the rulings or the new regulations. So it's kind of like when the portal came on, or name, image, likeness came on, or 4-year scholarships instead of 1 year. Like, you just kind of, okay, that's the next, it's the next thing that gets thrown your way, and you adapt and adjust. And at the end of the day, the most important thing is your relationship with your players and holding them accountable. All this other stuff, we can figure it out. But if we lose sight of, why you're coaching, or how you can make your players better because you're worried about, stuff in the future or stuff you can't control, then you're probably going to have a bad season. So I'm sure Ren and our sport administrator, Ben Murray, they'll tell me what the rules are, and we'll just kind of deal with them once they become official.
Greg Carey.
Sean, you mentioned trying to develop more consistency, maybe at the start of the year, as opposed to peaking when it matters most. Anything you try to do to ensure that, especially coming off what you said wasn't necessarily the best qualifying?
Yeah, I think it's all about getting them tournament ready, and not wasting days or wasting practice with a lot of, fluff or whatever. It's like really all about competition and getting the golf ball in the hole, and doing a lot of qualifying, or making practice really competitive, make it matter. So that way, when we get to Minnesota or Nemacolin and Big 12 match play and so on and so forth, like when we hand them a scorecard for the tournament, they're like, yeah, I've already done this 20 times. Like, I'm used to just trying to find a way to get the ball in the hole, rather than, what does your swing look like, or what do you want to work on today, or let's go have fun at practice. Like, no, like, we just can't waste time, and we got to make it competitive and hand them scorecards, and just learn to, get the golf ball in the hole. And so I think that's what we're going to try to do to, make them tournament ready. So that way, we're not, waiting to figure it out on the golf course, because we've already had to do that in qualifying so many times.
Coach, that looks like all the questions for today. Thanks to, I'm sorry, Kevin has one.
Sorry, I couldn't resist asking about you've got the framed NCAA scorecard photo there behind you. Obviously, a big point in the progression of this program. Are you seeing benefits from that, say, in recruits that you're talking to now for the future? I know usually those things are a year or two out, but in addition to the scheduling that you mentioned on recruiting and interest in the program up a little bit?
Yeah, I think so. But it definitely doesn't change what we look for in recruiting. It just might change who answers, the phone maybe a little bit more. But all those names that you see back there on the board, like they helped us achieve greatness, and those were the kind of kids we were recruiting, what, 5, 6 years ago, maybe even. So I don't think our DNA is going to change a whole lot in what we look for and what's going to work at West Virginia, and the type of kid that's going to have success here, and that's our goal, to kind of select who we think will have success here. It's great, yeah. It's a lot more people who noticed us, and talk about our program, like what a great job we've done and stuff. But it's like, still got to get the right you still got to get the right fit. And the moment you start chasing rankings, or whatever, highly ranked recruits, rather than who you should be getting, then it's all going to fall apart, really. So it's just our job to kind of make sure we get the right kid. And um if it doesn't work out, at least you can sleep at night knowing, like, you try to do it your way, do it the right way. If it doesn't work out, then hey, I tried. But like, not getting too far away from, like, the kids that aren't, their names are on this board here for a reason. So trying to get those guys.
Okay, any other questions for Coach? Thanks everyone for calling in, Coach. Best of luck this weekend and throughout the season.
All right, let's go Mountaineers.